Ladies, young ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. Once again, you're welcome here on the Ever the Consensus platform. In significant international news, recent recordings have been released. These are private recordings of Donald Trump. These recordings reveal that Donald Trump openly boasts about having directly threatened Vladimir Putin and also having explicitly threatened Xi Jinping. So, he threatened to bomb Moscow. He threatened to bomb Beijing. Yes, he threatened them. But today, we understand why when Donald Trump talks on the phone with Putin, just the day after their conversation, Putin, that is, strikes Ukraine even harder. You will understand in a moment. These recordings were broadcast by the American channel CNN on Tuesday, the 8th of July, 2025, so yesterday. They were broadcast. But these recordings are not from 2025. These are recordings from 2024. So these are recordings that were made during a private meeting while Donald Trump was campaigning in Florida with donors, people who had come to make donations. During the campaign, it was supported by a lot of donations. So that's where he made these statements. You could say these were campaign statements, right? But why are the Americans releasing these statements now? They had this a long time ago. But why is it only now that they've seen the opportunity to release it? Question mark. Does that mean anything to you? Recordings that date back to 2024. It's now 2025, and we're at a time when Trump is very angry with Vladimir Putin. We're at a time when Vladimir Putin has hit the accelerator. Yesterday, the 8th of July, 2025, at the time this was broadcast, it turned out that Russia has struck Ukraine very hard. 34 localities in the Sumy region. The capital was targeted as well as other regions. They're releasing this now, even though they've had it for a long time. What do they want? What is their intention? They're releasing this. We'll look at the actual content in detail. But they're releasing this at a time when Trump has been outmaneuvered by Vladimir Putin, at a time when Trump has suffered a crushing defeat against Vladimir Putin and has decided to resume arms deliveries. Driven by anger, Trump has decided to resume arms deliveries to Ukraine. Yet, he has suspended it in the name of peace and in the name of reducing of this reserve stock of American weapons. Why? It's definitely not. Share the video conference. Let's dive deeper into the recordings. So during this private meeting with donors, Donald Trump boasts about having threatened Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping. He said this in the recording. He says this. He says, "I told Putin, if you go into Ukraine, I will bomb Moscow to death. I'm telling you, and I have no choice." That's what he said to Putin. If you go to Moscow, into Ukraine, I will bomb Moscow to death. So what does that mean? And yet, when he came, that was during the campaign in Florida. It was during the campaign period. But when he came, he made a different decision. On the contrary, he befriended Putin. He befriended Russia. He makes decisions against Ukraine that have a significant impact, that help Russia, especially the recent halt in deliveries, which benefits Russia. So here's what's happening. Here's what's happening. So why is it only now? It's as if maybe they are bringing this up to further annoy Donald Trump, to remind Donald Trump of what he promised his donors. So they want what's happening now to push Trump to put into practice what he announced, to bomb Moscow, to bomb Beijing. We'll talk about Beijing in a moment. They want Trump to bomb Moscow because Trump said, if you go into Ukraine, I will bomb you. Under my presidency, I will bomb you. And here we are. Vladimir Putin went ahead. He kept moving forward in Ukraine. He didn't stop anything. And when the two of them talk on the phone, he's brushed off. And on that very day, Donald Trump announces that Putin is talking nonsense about their conversation. Putin, in any case, doesn't have any concrete proposals. It's on that day that they released this audio. Doesn't that ring a bell? Let's dive deeper. So according to the American media, the Republican president then boasted about the effect it had. He said this: Putin replied that he didn't believe me, but he believed me 10%. As I was saying, these remarks are part of a series of exchanges recorded in 2024 during fundraising events held in Florida and New York, while Trump was campaigning to win back the White House. 3 journalists who had access to these recordings eventually published them on July 8th. They provided the details in a book titled 2024. So why are they publishing it now? On the other hand, still within these recordings, it is noted that the Russian president was not the only one targeted by Donald Trump's forceful statement. Donald Trump stated he claims in the recording that he delivered a very similar message to Xi Jinping in the event of a potential invasion of Taiwan. You know, there is a serious problem between China and Taiwan. So he says this. He says, I told him I would bomb Beijing. He thought I was crazy, but I never had any trouble. So in these excerpts, Trump repeatedly insists that the wars in Ukraine and Gaza would never have broken out if he had been in charge of the country, pointing the finger at Joe Biden. So here are the shocking revelations that have come out in American media. So the question keeps coming up. In your opinion, why did they release recordings that date back to 2024? Or is it to remind Trump of his promise? Since Trump acts out of anger, is it to push Trump to make a new decision to bomb both capitals? For now, Beijing has not yet attacked Taiwan, but Russia is attacking. Russia is still bombing Ukraine. Is it to push Trump to bomb Moscow? So in this case, the African and American media, those who publish this, really do not want peace. Because Russia is also ready to bomb New York. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the top story of the news. Thank you for sharing it as much as possible. I'll be back with more news shortly. This was the voice of your one and only Samouraï.